for cover here, because just as the podium was ending, the heavens have well and truly opened. Zak Brown joins us. Zak, look, there's so much to take from that race. There's so much disappointment as well for Oscar, but let's focus on the positive. It was a great drive from Lando today.
Unbelievable drive. Team called a perfect strategy in very difficult conditions. I feel terrible for Oscar. He drove such a brilliant race, and I mean, they both, came up on that rain at the same time, and Lando was able to collect it up, and Oscar a little bit more tricky. Drove great to get back to P9, but awesome team effort. Exciting race, and I feel like I'm in my wind tunnel back at Woking right now.
Yeah.
Zach, it was looking like such an incredible race. I mean, pure domination from you guys. Today it was all about keeping it on track, making decisions at the right time. We even saw you sticking your hand out a lot of times in the pit lane to get a feel. How hard was it to make those decisions today? There was a lot of patience in it.
It was really tough because the rain, we kept thinking was going to come, might not come. How bad is it going to be? How long is it going to be? And we just had to kind of react to the circumstances. So team did a great job. Everyone back at McLaren, all the men and women, I mean, they built a proper race car.
Do you think that there was a conversation around, Oscar holding position because you're going past lap cars? Did any of that seem to put him off his rhythm in that stage? He was catching Lando, but then he dropped, we saw him make a mistake, drop back, and then obviously the rain came down. But do you think any of that stuff, because he was catching him, and then the rhythm went away?
Yeah, no, I don't think that had anything to do with it. We actually, Andrea and I on the pit wall, just kind of released them to go racing. And we just wanted to make sure we cleared the traffic. So that was the hold for a moment. And then looked like he dropped the wheel and then fell back a bit of a gap. But I just think they were pushing really hard in very tricky conditions.
Zach, if we take another positive from today, when Oscar cleared Max early on in that first stint, the pair of them pulled away very rapidly. That does augur well as far as your race pace is concerned.
It looked good, but as we know, that's one track, one race. Let's see what happens in China. But definitely, starting the season very strong. But we saw last year Max won first 6-7 races, whatever it was, and then had a bit of a drought. So I think we just got to keep doing what we're doing.
Now, I know you just said your car's good, but let's be real. Coming into the season, everybody was speculating it was going to be a quick car. Yesterday we found out pole position pace was incredible. During the race today we saw again in completely different conditions that even in wet conditions you have a car that's really quick. So how long do you think you'll be able to keep this up? How long are you going to keep them behind you?
I hope 23 more races. We definitely have a very quick race car, but we see how quickly things change in this sport. And so we need to make sure we keep developing, but that's what everyone back at McLaren's done an awesome job of doing the last few years.
Can I ask a question about communication? Because that was so critical. We saw Red Bull maybe leaving it a lap too long with Max. We saw Ferrari getting it wrong. It seemed like you guys picked the right lap at every moment with Lando there. In the past, that wasn't the case. We saw Canada last year, Silverstone last year. Is that something you consciously worked on in the winter between Will and Lando and the engineering team?
I think the communication is very strong, our decision making. We don't kind of second guess ourselves, and so I think great execution today. The team had a plan. It was very tricky conditions, communicated well. Communications with the drivers were great, and we executed accordingly.
Have you spoken to Oscar yet, Zach?
I've not had a chance to see him. He's the first guy I want to see now that I've seen Lando, and a little celebration with the team.
Just arm around the shoulder, I suppose, for next week. What are we expecting from China?
He drove brilliantly. I'm hoping, I don't know that I'm expecting what we just saw here, but that's what I'm hoping for.
Okay, all right. Top man, really appreciate it,
Thank
Zach.
you very
Thanks
much.
so much for your time. I'll let you go and congratulate the rest of the team and catch up with them.
Conditions you were dealing with on track today, that moment at off, talk me through how that came about at the end, because it ruined what could have been an incredible result today.
Yeah, it's obviously pretty disappointing at the moment. I feel like for pretty much every lap apart from one, I drove an incredibly strong race, and it's just a shame to not have the result to show for it. So obviously don't have anyone to blame but myself. I think it was probably a bit unfortunate to get stuck the way I did, but it was only myself that put me there, so obviously disappointed.
Is that easy to pick yourself back up from than, say, a team error? If it's something that you did, is the reset for you easier than, say, if there was a team mistake on strategy or something? Is it easier if it's like, I know what I did wrong, then I can fix that next time? Is that an easier pickup for you or not? Is that harder?
Yes and no. I think Yeah, I think for me the big positive is the other 56 laps of the race. I felt like I had really strong pace in all conditions, and yeah, that's what I will try and take away from this weekend. I think as a team, clearly with Lando they made the right decision, and even with myself, given I was trying to reverse for about a minute, we still made the right decisions. So I'm proud of the whole team effort this weekend. Just a shame to not have a better result.
Does it hurt more because you've got such a good car?
Not necessarily. I think it would hurt if I had a bad car, but I think clearly there was much more on the table than P9 today. So it's just a shame to not have that result.
Thank you. Thanks.
To win his home court, we still know Australian on the podium since 1985, since he's been part of the championship. But if he's going to get into, and the signs are there that this McLaren is a little way ahead of the other cars now, Karun, if it is going to be a two-way fight early on, throw Max Verstappen there, of course. We don't know. We've not seen the best of Ferrari yet, but he can't afford to make those mistakes, can he?
He followed Lando off, didn't he? They both went off, and that was because the rain came down and they were on slicks. And look, I've been there. I've driven on this track in the damp on slicks, and it is treacherous out here. So for 58 laps minus one corner, I thought Oscar's race was brilliant. I mean, the last lap overtake on Lewis Hamilton around the outside into turn 9. I mean, that was brave stuff. Obviously, 4 overtakes at the end to come through and get back into the points. But yeah, apart from that one error, he was excellent. He started to catch Lando, hadn't he?
Yeah, here's some examples of what he had to do towards the end, and it was 4 cars in the end that he overtook to get back into the points.
Yeah, Ocon there.
Yeah, it was a great recovery from him. I mean, look, he was desperate to make sure that car got back onto the tarmac. He wanted to finish his home Grand Prix, and he did a good job to get himself back into the points. But such an unfortunate moment. I mean, you've really got to feel for him. As Karun said, you're kind of looking at the car in front of you. At that point, you're the only the first cars on slick tires on a track that's changing every second. So they just overdid it a little bit, and then he had too much speed coming out of there to catch it on the way out, and that's what ended up putting him in the grass. I feel really sorry for him because he looked really, really quick today.
And he'll bounce back from that. We've seen before. He's mentally strong, and fortunately, he's only got a week to have to think about. It's not going to fester for too long.
Just wondered, though, about Lando Norris. A quick one on that drive as well, because he was under immense pressure from Max Verstappen, and that was the kind of drive he needed to get his championship fight off and running in the best possible way, wasn't it? Because actually it was a statement win.
You've got to say hats off to Lando. I mean, there was a lot to contend with today. Anything could really have gone wrong out there, whether it's a white line, whether it's a call that was too late, too early, whatever it is. It really felt like they were under control today. Anytime Lando was communicating over the radio, he was cool, he was calm, he was collected. It was really his weekend from start to finish, really.
That was the most impressive thing, wasn't it? That there was no panic at all. It was, as you say, very, very measured radio calls too.
I think George Russell actually raised a really good point there right after the race, where he said, being the first car on the road, you're under so much pressure, and everyone expects you to be setting the pace, judging the grip in these changeable conditions. And he did a great job. I mean, again, he went off there, slight mistake, but Alex Albon joins us. But yeah, great drive from Lando.
The sun's come out. Look at that.
It's just in time.
The weather keeps changing.
I don't know what you're going to get in Melbourne, do you? You really don't.
2 for 1.
Jimmy V.
Jimmy V indeed.
Yeah, there we go.
Jack Whitehall, thanks very much.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Nearly a podium, 4th. You'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I was thinking about the podium, but in them conditions, just surviving, P4, super happy for everyone at the team. I feel like we've just had that good start to the year, a great test in Bahrain, good few days here, Friday, Saturday, and then to execute Sunday was a nice little cherry on the top. Yeah.
First of all, massive congratulations. Great result yesterday, great result today. It's also nice to see that the car is performing both in qualifying and the race. But what did it really take out there today? I mean, just how complicated was it? Take us into the cockpit.
Personally, in them conditions, it's just about knowing your limits. It's easy to switch off your brain and just drive flat out, and you need a bit of a barrier to the limit, because it was so gusty out there today, and a bit more rain, drying out, tyres overheating, tyres getting too cold, safety car restarts, all that kind of thing. You can't drive it at 99, not even 99%. You have to know when are the moments you can risk it or not, and that's why, honestly, I said it before the race started, the rookies are going to, it's so tricky. But I don't think people understand how hard Pirelli tyres are to work in the wet. And survive if you've got a chance.
James, let me come to you about that race, because you guys look like you made all the right calls strategically at the right points. In your previous life, you were making those calls. Talk to me a little bit about the team role and how they work with Alex on that.
Yeah, I'd say that no result is a result of one person individually anyway. It's the team coming together. The pit stops were absolutely on point. The strategy, well done to them today. It's one point to note on the strategy is there was an additional strategist today, which was Carlos. Carlos, actually, his insight was incredibly useful on that transition to the Inter. You saw a number of teams not sure. Do we try and hang it out? Can you hang it out? Carlos was adamant. You won't survive on that around the last few corners, and he was spot on and helped us drive us towards that. The main thing for me is I'm just, incredibly proud of how across the last 12 months this team has just grown and performed, and I think the result today is reward for all of the change.
Was Carlos a passenger today? I mean, how much did he know about that?
It's still slightly odd, so we need to go through it more. Effectively, it was just an upshift, but part throttle, but there was more torque than he would have expected at that point. It was tricky out there, which you have to say. It was on around a region where there's a lot of white lines.
It was slippery out there. We talked about this recently as well, that these lines that they have on the track, they are supposed to be anti-slip, but it's not tarmac. And you can't create paint as grippy as tarmac. Simple as that. And it's these cars are running so low now. You feel the paint, the difference between tarmac and paint, the little thin strip. You feel that as you go around the corners, and it snaps the car, and it doesn't feel very nice to drive. So yeah, I'm sure that will come up in driver's briefing.
You were talking there, I mean, what you pointed out about Carlos being a team player, staying behind and actually helping you there. Is that what you're trying to foster in here? I mean, obviously this is a team sport, and obviously every team's trying to be the best that they can be. But what is the culture that you're trying to introduce to Williams, James?
You summarised it well. The way Alex and Carlos are on this team, I'll let Alex comment on this as well, is they're leaders that are driving our organisation forward. We are here all together to get the best results we can for Williams as we grow. When we're starting to win and in a position that others are, then you create an environment where both Alex and Carlos can fight for that in equal measures. But for now, this is about bringing together 1,000 people pointing the right way.
Alex, P4 today, has it sunk in already?
No.
Do you realise that?
No, I've been saying this before, that you kind of wish that it was midpoint in the year and you've had this struggle, and that P4 is something special. It's very special, trust me, but it's happened immediately, and so you're kind of you wish you worked for it a bit more.
But not lucky, you were in the pack. You were racing the Ferraris. You were there. It wasn't like 10 cars crash out in the last safety car like last year. You were there the whole race.
It's true. We were running P7, P6 pretty much the whole time through. We had good pace as well. When I needed to, I could close the gap to the cars in front, and honestly, even on the restarts on that medium tyre, it felt very strong, the car. So lots to learn, lots to feedback on. It's exciting. I feel like this year is just going to be a really exciting year. It's so tight out there. If you do a great job, you can really mix it with the top teams now. RB, Alpine, they look extremely close to us. It's going to be a dogfight for the whole season.
Don't wish it away. Podium next time, that's all.
There we go.
All right, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you in Shanghai. Let's talk about Lewis Hamilton's day. Not too happy over team radio, it has to be said today.
Can use K1, you close.
Insert, please.
K1 available.
Yes, I know. Leave me to it, please. Lost gear sync. Lost gear sync.
Understood. We suggest be big and free. To avoid the deny DRS, we suggest upshift and then DRS.
Please leave it. Yes, leave it. I'm running my car as we go, mate. Just leave me to it with the DRS. It's not an issue.
Try to hold the K1. That's for practice. I know it's difficult.
I'm not close enough.
Copy.
I'm not close enough. When I'm close, I'll do it.
Understood.
So he said it wasn't going to rain much. Just missed a big opportunity there.
Understood.
What position am I now? Back in
P9.
9 again.
There are always sort of niggles in a new relationship. You always need to find your feet. How would you assess today? Because I know it must be really different being in a car with a different race engineer, different team. How would you assess it all today?
It's very tricky, and went a lot worse than I thought that it would go. And the car was really, really hard to drive today. So, I mean, for me, I'm just grateful that I kept it out of the wall because that's really where I wanted to go most of the time. But a lot to take from it, and also just getting acclimatized to the new power unit in the wet conditions, all the settings that it requires a different way of driving, a different setup on the steering wheel, and and then obviously I hung out as long as I could, got in the lead at one point, and I think just the guidance in the terms of how much more wet rain was coming was just missing there. So I think we missed out.
I know when I spoke to Charles, he wanted to come in as well at the same time as you did. So I said to him, can you have those conversations? Can you say to the pit wall, please, we're the ones on track, we can feel it. Can you have those? Can you steer those conversations, the two of you, do you feel? It's something he said.
We tried to, but I mean, the information I got was that it's just a short shower, real quick. And at the time, it was only in the last corner. So for me, I was like, the rest of the track was dry. I can keep this on track if that's all that's coming, and then more came.
So some work to do on that side. I think he said that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you.
Not the first, and he won't be the last. A little bit of a victim of Ferrari's strategic call today. They got it wrong, and he pointed it out.
They took a risk. They thought the shower would be short and that the drivers could survive on those tyres, and then, when the rain stopped, he and Riccardo Adami need to have a bit more time to understand just how much communication Lewis wants and what type of communication, because there were a number of times where he said, tell me something, and then they would give him more information, then he was like, oh no, it's too much, stop telling me, leave it to me. So they just need to build that bond. Race drivers and their engineers will spend more time together than they will with their partners through the season, but they're still at round one. They've just got to find their feet and understand, and maybe have a conversation between now and China. I'll be interested to listen to the radio in China, see if it is different. But they just need to have a conversation, say, okay, I need to know this, and this. I don't need you to hold my hand for ABC.
Well, I mean, when you've been with a race engineer like Lewis has with Pete Bonington for so long, it's inevitably going to be a change. Is it going to be, I suppose, from a driver's perspective, how weird is that when you're getting messages you don't need at the wrong time on the track?
When the adrenaline is pumping, it is frustrating, and I think, but you've just got to keep perspective that they're also figuring out how to communicate. I mean, Riccardo Adami's probably communicated that way with Carlos Sainz for the last 3 years. So he's just carrying on doing what he feels is natural as an engineer on the pit wall, but he's dealing with a different animal now. And Lewis needs a different type of communication. And I'm sure if we rewind and had access to the 2013 radio at Mercedes, he and Bono wouldn't have been flowing as they were, a couple of years later. So, they just need to build that relationship.
Okay, we're going to take a short break.
Congratulations, that was an incredible resurrection drive today. How do you feel? How proud are you of that drive?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was a really eventful race. I wanted the podium so bad, but I wasn't aware about the penalty, which was unfortunate. But I really cannot complain about today. The team did a great job. They guided me through, especially after I had the mistake. I kind of hurt my confidence a little bit in that stint, and the team did great to calm me down and to get me back into the rhythm. So also they made all the right calls, and really really happy about today.
Well, there was a baptism of fire for all of the rookies out there today. I mean, the conditions couldn't have been more tricky. Just take me into the cockpit. How difficult was it out there? What were all the challenges for you? I
mean, it was super difficult, especially, the start and behind the safety car, the tires were cooling down massively and the grip was nowhere, and also with all these wide lines, it's super, super tricky because as soon as you go over them on traction or even in a high-speed corner, you lose the grip from all of a sudden. So it's always very, very tricky, and especially on the slick. Was quite scary, but really happy with how everything went.
Well, surviving was the name of the game today, and you did more than that. I mean, you passed so many cars on track. It looked like you were really confident. How different was an F1 race? It was your first one. You've completed it. What did you learn?
I mean, I learned so many things. I think obviously it was disappointing yesterday, and probably could have been a different race, but you never know. I think today was really good with how we managed everything. And was a really good experience, also to see how what happens at the back as well. Obviously, we don't want to start that far anymore.
For sure.
But it was really good experience. Also learning the Inter because it was the first time using it, and learn the tire and see how it behaves was a good experience.
Okay, so finally, happy with this result?
Yeah, happy. Definitely cannot complain about today.
Okay, fantastic. Well, congratulations. Give me the mic. I'll let you go. Thank you.
Well, as well as Lando Norris, definitely in the running for driver of the day today. And just glimpses there, Toto, of what an exciting prospect he is.
Yeah, clearly started P16, had the fortune of a few people crashing out, but he took it in the right way. He just wheeled them in one by one, showed the pace when he had no traffic, and then eventually ended up P4 on the road and P5 from a result, and that's really impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, can I ask a little bit about the penalty for him? Because we didn't actually see it, and it seemed to come up, investigated, and then did you have any time to discuss it with the stewards or anything? Because it seemed like a very quick decision.
No, yeah. Like, you can only shake your head. It came up, there's an incident, nobody saw it, it wasn't played, and 90 seconds later there was a penalty of 5 seconds. So, yeah.
But on the whole, though, I mean, we saw a day where 5 of the other full-season rookies had a pretty tough time out there, and he was one who rose through, starting way down the grid. How impressed were you with how calm he was throughout that process? Because it was a complicated race.
Yeah, he was. You're right. I mean, even very good drivers spun or hit the wall, and it's easier to not finish than to finish. And it's impressive to see from a, let's say, fan standpoint. But as a competitor, we just need to, deploy everything we have in our arsenal, in our armory, to just try to catch them. Because when they go, and that was for us impossible to hold them.
Can you offer some insight into where they're heading? Obviously, you've got the same power unit. I'm sure you've got lots of information coming. But is there a strength that you see in the McLaren car that you guys need to try and catch up on?
They're just so good in tire management. You push your tires and you can hold on for a lap or two. And if you fall out of the window, then you cook them. And they have just such a wide window that they're able to push on the tire like no tomorrow.
Just a final word on George before we hear from him and his display today.
Very good. I mean, there's so much talk about Kimi, and he merits that, but George is just so good. He extracts from the car more than the car has at times. He makes no mistakes. He's calm now. He's a true leader in the team, and we're lucky to have him.
Well done, Toto. Good
Thank
start
you very
to the
much.
season, nonetheless. Let's hear from his other driver, George Russell.
Wow. I mean, we didn't see much of you in that race, which made it look like it was completely smooth sailing for you to finish in P3 today. So tell me what you were dealing with and how you managed to end up in P3 when so many around you fell away.
Yeah, it was a race of survival, really, in that mid-phase when it was going from inters and then it started raining more and then it went on to slicks and then it started raining. That was probably the most decisive decision I've ever taken in terms of strategy. I came round the corner where Oscar and Lando went off and I was like, box right now. And then you came out the pits and the inter tyres were probably 6 seconds slower in the first 2 sectors, but then they were probably 10 seconds quicker in the last sector. So I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But yeah, to come home in P3 was a good result, an amazing job by Kimi as well to bring the car home in fourth. Really great effort.
I want to ask you how important it is to have that trust with your pit wall that goes both ways, where you can say that and they're like, okay, cool, we'll do it, because other teams haven't.
We had a really amazing conversation and meeting this morning where we all came together, Toto and the strategists and all the engineers, knew exactly what we needed in each circumstance, when it was getting drier or when it was getting wetter, who would be making the calls, what they needed from me. And it's no secret that it's not been our strength in probably the last 18 months, these sort of challenging races, and that's why I was so keen today to just kind of bring it home, and we did a great job.
Kimi, as you mentioned, did a fantastic job today.
Yeah.
In those conditions, the rookies struggled. He didn't, and he brought it from P16 to P4, eventually P5. You must have been looking at that thinking, okay, he's on my toes here. He's on my heels.
For me, there's never been doubt about his ability. So I'm really pleased that he he brought it home in the position he did, because yesterday he was very unfortunate, and he would have been there with me, I think, in qualifying yesterday, and would have both been up there fighting today. So, you know, he's a super driver, and I've said it from the beginning, he's going to keep me on my toes, and I'm excited about that.
Great stuff. Well done today.
Yeah, not bad at all for Mercedes. Couple of points behind McLaren after the first race in the Constructors. Let's spare a thought, though, if we could, for Isack Hadjar. At times ahead of his teammate, but yeah, he was close to tears, there's no doubt about it. This was him being consoled by Anthony Hamilton at the end. Yeah, it's a tough life being a Formula One driver when it doesn't go your way. Let's hear from him. This is what he's had to say about his afternoon.
Isack, how are you?
Not great.
Just talk us through what happened and how you felt it.
I just lost the rear end of the car these cars in this condition, they just snap so fast and it's unsavable. I couldn't get the grip back. I tried to save it, but it was just...
It's very hard for all of you in your first race weekend, because you haven't had any wet running before, so it is just, I guess, a case of learning today.
Sorry?
All of you, it's very difficult for all of you coming in for your first race weekend in these conditions, because you haven't driven these cars in the wet before. So it was always going to be a case of learning today anyway. Don't be too hard on yourself.
I knew it was going to be tricky. I mean, even on the installations laps, on laps to the grid, I was like, oh yeah, this is... It's tricky, but it's definitely drivable, and yeah, I don't know, I'm just sorry for the team right now, and my close ones watching the race, so yeah, it's just embarrassing.
We saw Anthony put an arm around your shoulder. Were there some words of encouragement from him?
Yeah, he told me to keep my head high and be proud, and he did say I did well yesterday, but you know, it was a nice gesture from him. But yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Poor lad, he's in shock.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just feel the highs higher than others and the lows lower than others. It feels like Isack Hadjar is a character who's clearly very emotional, both whether that's when he's happy or when he's sad. But yes, it's not the way, look, he had a brilliant weekend up until that moment. So unfortunate to lose it, you know, just before the race. It is so embarrassing when that happens. Yeah, I do really feel for him, but it doesn't mean anything, right? It can happen. You can so very quickly in these conditions become a passenger, and he needs to hold his head up. It's just the beginning, and he's done well so far.
Lovely touch from Anthony Hamilton, no doubt about it. But it's professional pride there, isn't it, on your debut, your first race, and that happens.
He didn't get to make his debut.
Yeah,
I mean, and you only get that chance once, that first race weekend, and to get on the grid and do that start. So yeah, the dream turned into a nightmare for him, unfortunately. But I think it's important to explain to people at home just how difficult it is to drive Formula One cars slowly. F1 cars like to be driven at high speed with high energy to the tyres and the brakes. They feel awful when you drive them slowly. You know, Carlos Sainz said to me, is in the safety car mode, the power delivery, it changes, and in the way the torque gets delivered when you accelerate is completely, it's unnatural to how you feel when you're driving on. And it's not surprising to me that Hadjar got caught out. We saw Lawson get into a bit of trouble on slow lap as well. Yeah, it is. Formula One cars feel awful when you're driving them slowly.
Yeah, he was miles off. I mean, you don't want to be too harsh on their debuts, if you like. I mean, it's not his debut, but for a full season. But at times he was like 3 seconds off his teammate per lap.
Yeah, it's not been a good day. It's not been a good weekend, frankly. He was struggling for pace on Friday. Saturday morning, missed free practice 3, went off in qualifying. It almost feels like he needs to somehow find a way to clean the slate, if Helmut lets him, and start China as if it's the first race of the season, and just try and start again. So, yeah, a really, really tough day for him. But the white lines is a tricky one, because for years they've been trying to get this anti-slip paint. I remember at Spa many years ago how they put this paint down, but it never seems that they've quite got on top of it. It is treacherous out there as soon as the driver touches the white line.
There you go. an idea for innovators. There we go, a truly non-slip paint, and you might make your money back on it.
Don't tell people, Simon. That's my next
business
startup.
idea.
Karun's already on it, man.
From the start.
To wait till race 23 to get some points. You've given them some for the first race of the season. Just how delighted are you with your performance?
Yeah,
today?
very, very happy. We didn't see that coming for the first half of the race. It wasn't looking too good. But then, things got a bit, obviously, a bit more entertaining towards the end. We made some good calls. I think other people were struggling, obviously, and, we picked up the pieces, and, but we're there when it mattered, so very happy to have scored those points today.
How much confidence does that give you going forward, even if you know that maybe it wasn't true performance that got you those points today?
Yeah, obviously, first race under your belt is always, obviously the first milestone, but, you learn so much in a race that we obviously now, we'll digest and, also me process everything. There's a couple of days to analyze, regroup, and then we'll go again.
Great stuff, thank you.
Good signing for Sauber, isn't it? You have to say.
Oh, he's top draw. We saw at Haas how much he contributed to them having a good season last year, dragged them up in the championship. They're missing him. Speaking of Ayao Komatsu, and he was really gutted when he lost Hulkenberg to Sauber. So, yeah, he's a great asset for them.
Still got, you'd think obviously he's just waiting for Audi to come in, waiting for the change of regulations, because he's still yet to secure a podium. Yes, he's had one pole position, but maybe he was thinking, might have been eyeing it just as the rain came down towards the end and he's sitting in 7th. Alas, no, but you feel like he's the kind of driver that his career deserves more than he's got on paper at the moment.
Totally. One of the most, I don't want to say underestimated, because I think a lot of people already know that he's got what it takes, but I guess he's just always been sort of in the wrong place at the wrong time, never really having a car that can deliver him the results that maybe he deserves. But he's always our surprise finisher in the points, I have to say. Like, when there's an opportunity for him to be there, he's there. And I have to say, Sauber must be really happy, because Bortoleto had a great weekend up until obviously what happened in the race today, but he seems to really have the pace as well. He's been matching Hulkenberg a lot during practice, so all things are looking pretty decent for them in that respect this season so far. Perhaps
a surprise DNF in the form of Fernando Alonso. Let's hear from his teammate, though. Finished inside the top 10, as I mentioned, 6th for Lance Stroll.
Hey Lance, well, considering how this race could have gone for some of the others, you must be delighted to get such a good haul of points for the team today.
Yeah, for sure. It was one of those races, just had to stay on track and keep it clean, and we did that today, so happy to pick up 6th.
When you were navigating those very challenging conditions, the changing conditions, the safety cars and stuff, did you feel like you had a car and the confidence in it to be able to navigate it? Obviously, I didn't really see you put a foot wrong today.
Yeah, confidence was a big word out there today. I never had a lot of confidence. The conditions are so tricky. We're on the dry tires, just one, dry line, and then everything else was wet, and then, vice versa on the inters. It was, super tricky also. So I think it was just about, keeping it clean, and we did that.
I think Lance Stroll's the kind of driver that wished it rained every single week. He's consistently good in the wet.
He is, but I have to say this whole weekend he's already been pretty decent. I don't know if it's just the winter break that he needed to just reset his mindset. Sometimes you can get so bogged down in negative results and negative media questions from the media, and it just feels like he's come into this weekend a little bit more fresh, and he's been on it. So great result to finish the weekend.
Yeah, points on the board for them. We'll see where they can build. In terms of pace, the team will be concerned because they're clearly behind Williams, behind Racing Bulls, and the other top 4. So, but yeah, when the opportunity presents itself, he got the points on the board.
Let's have a look at Fernando Alonso's crash.
White lines and making a mistake that we saw many drivers make today, but very uncharacteristic of Fernando, I have to say.
Actually, that turn was catching quite a few of them out, wasn't it?
Well, we saw Oscar go after him a couple of laps before that. He sort of bounced across the gravel and came back. It was just one of those days. I'm trying to think of the last time I could remember Fernando Alonso crashing. I can't remember. So.
No. All right, well, we'll check.
Somebody will tell me.
And we'll come back to you. Let's hear from the race winner. Here is Lando Norris talking with Martin.
I described that in commentary as one of the great victories in Formula One history. The start, the restart, pressure, Oscar in your mirrors. Yeah. You had Max in your mirrors. Every metre of the way you could throw it in the wall. I mean, you must be so satisfied with that race.
I am. Thank you. Thanks for the words. I mean, it's exactly like you said. It was. I don't think people on the outside know how stressful a race like that is, because especially when it's drying out, you put a wheel 20 centimeters wide or out of position and you're out, you're in the wall hard. So dealing with the pressure, knowing that you have to push, you've got to take those risks, but as soon as you take a tiny bit too much, it can all be over very, very quickly, like it almost was. I went off the track as it started to rain. I was lucky I just about kept it on. We boxed, so we made a lot of, also kind of what I'm most happy with, we just made a lot of good decisions today. With the strategy, with preparing, I was talking a lot with Will on the radio, so a lot of good things. But for myself, starting the season off like this, staying calm with the pressure of Oscar and Max makes me happy.
I thought Will was brilliant right at the end when he said, "Don't overdrive the car. You're fast enough anyway. Don't snatch a brake and a front brake." And
Max would go for it. It's like we know Max. Obviously, I dealt with that last year, and I know if I gave Max 1% of a chance, he would go for it. So I knew I just needed to, and thankfully Will said it. Just stay calm and just trust that I got the pace and I got the car, which I do, and I got to say a big thanks to the team for giving me this car to go out and win. So. Happy, perfect way to start the season. Stressful. I would have liked a slightly easier one, but very happy.
You sounded zen in the car. Have you been working on that aspect?
I have. I mean, not like so much in just trying to stay calm, but I feel like I've just come into the season a bit more calm and relaxed than I normally am. Just I've got a little bit of confidence, and it's not like I've now got just too much confidence. I probably lacked confidence last season, and now I've probably got a good balance of confidence and knowledge that I can go out and I can do well when I've got to do it. I've got a bit of faith in myself, basically, so that's a nice thing to have, and it just keeps me calm, and when I'm calm, I'm quick, and when I'm quick, I can win.
You certainly did.
Thank you so much, man. Cheers. Well, thanks.
One of the great drives, one of the great victories in history. High praise indeed from the governor. He'll take that. Money.
Yeah, and it was nice to hear Lando saying he's got a bit more faith in himself, because he should. He's got talent, he's got speed, he's got the ability, and he's got the car this year to be world champion. We've been saying, on the pre-show, you asked me who I thought, and I was like, Lando goes into it as the favourite for the first time in his career. He's got to believe he's the favourite, and he's delivered today on it. I want to see 23 more of those.
His temperament, that's the thing. I mean, that's, I think, probably the biggest positive he's going to take it from today, is that he went toe-to-toe with Max and came out on top.
Yeah, with Max, with Oscar, with whoever else was there to challenge him today. And honestly, I have to say hats off to Lando. He drove an incredible race. He put his foot wrong just once and managed to get himself out of it. But it's incredible. It's an incredible start for him, and I think it's what he needs, because sometimes he doubts himself, and this will be a great mindset to be starting the season on.
Let's just nip back into the pen, because he's just had this to say.
I don't know why people always talk about the cars so much. I don't know.
About you.
Yes, but...
About you, the team, the car, everything. I don't know.
But too many questions in the media are about just the car. No. Me and Oscar drove very, very well yesterday. I'm not saying others didn't, but others should not have been as far off as what they were. That was clear. But I think we do, by a little margin, have the best car. I'm not denying that. But not everything is about the car, and that's clear. But today was a deserved win, I think, because we made good decisions as a team. And in the past, like last year, we would have done the same race and we wouldn't have won the race because we were not the best at making those decisions. And today we were. So I give a lot of credits to the team, because they worked hard over the winter to make sure they were ready for a day like today.
Half joking there, obviously. No surprise, though, that Zach sent Rob Marshall up there onto the podium today, because chief designer, the guy that's about, all about the flexi wings and the DRS. This is a guy who's a master of his art.
Yeah, and he's I think brought obviously a huge amount of knowledge from Red Bull, but also I think worked well in terms of there's no ego with Rob. We've all seen him for many years, and he's got himself into that organisation with people like Peter Prodromou and the technical team with Andrea Stella, and they've got galvanised the whole operation working together. So yeah, it's very positive.
It is, but he's highlighted it there. It was good respect, by the way, between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. We know that they're friends away from the track as well afterwards. Little thumbs up appreciated the job that Lando Norris had done, and I think let's hope that that's going to be the spirit that we get all year. Although I have to say, in behind here, if McLaren are that far ahead, you just wonder, this is the thing that's going to need to be managed, eh?
Yeah, look, it's definitely the car that's going to need to be challenged, but they've done a great job. We have to say hats off. There's nothing more you can say. They did the job both on the pit wall and the drivers. Altogether, congratulations.
Okay, Notebook fans, because we've overrun, you'll be able to see Ted. That's available online and on demand. We'll see you in China. From us all here, bye-bye. Lando Norris has taken the opener.